You know what tool I waited way too long to buy? And as far as tools go, it really isn't all that expensive, and it doesn't take up all that much space either. But it's quickly became a really valuable tool for me that's expanded what I feel like I can create. And that's a 3D printer. Here it is. I went with a fully enclosed one just because it gets dusty with all the woodworking tools in here. And there's a lot of different printers that have this same form factor. I bought it a few months ago, but I feel like I'm like 10 years behind on when 3D printers started to become mainstream. That's not entirely a bad thing though, because in that time they've gotten a whole lot less expensive and a lot more reliable. I paid less than $300 for this printer and have had basically trouble-free prints since day one. I've quickly found many uses for it in my work building camper vans, and this has ranged from designing functional prints that I can incorporate into builds, to printing templates that I can use to get more accurate cuts, or even printing little tools. I will say that for the first few days I had it, I basically just printed little toys for my son, which is another great use for it, and I think at that time my wife probably thought that that was the reason why I wanted to buy one, but I was like, I do have legitimate work uses for this. So in this video, I'm going to show you 3 ways that I use the 3D printer to solve problems in the current van that I've been working on. The first problem we're going to solve is by this heater installed under the passenger seat. In camper vans, it's pretty common to locate a gas or diesel heater under the passenger seat. It's just good use of space and works with many layouts. In sprinters or transits, the seat base is enclosed like a box, and that works a little better because these heaters come with a little bit of ducting and a little outlet vent. And typically what you do is you put this outlet vent where you want the heat to come out. So if it's an enclosed seat box, you'd have that in the back, and then you do just a really short bit of ducting that bridges from the heater outlet to your vent. In this ProMaster though, this seat base is open. There's not a box here, and I think it'd look really funny to just cut off a little bit of this tube and hose clamp these together. So I want to come up with something better. So what I want to do is recreate this little outlet vent. And instead of having one that's designed to snap onto some ducting, make one that just snaps right onto the outlet of the heater and is a little smaller in profile. The key feature that we need to recreate is these little angled fins, and what these do is allow you to twist this and change the direction that that hot air gets blown out of the heater. I already took a few measurements, now let's move over to our 3D modeling program. So I'm going to do this in Autodesk Fusion, and I realized it was going to take too long to go step by step through modeling this, so I went ahead and modeled it, and I'm going to give you the quick overview of how I did that. I started with a sketch that would form the side profile of our cylinder. So this is basically just a rectangle that I dimensioned, and then down here I added this little protrusion. And this protrusion is what's going to click in place over the bump on the outlet of the heater. I could then take this sketch profile and the revolve tool and revolve it around the Z-axis to make our outer cylinder. And here's what that looks like. Now all it needs is those fins to form the vent grill across the top surface. So to do that, I made another sketch of the shape that I want one of those vent grills to look like, and that's this parallelogram. I then extruded that sketch out so that it went past both edges of my cylinder here. Then using the pattern tool, I patterned that out so that it went across the whole top of my cylinder with a spacing that looked right. I went with about a 1/2 inch spacing. So now all I need to do is cut away this excess to the outside of our cylinder here. To do that, I'm going to use a subtract operation. And so first I made a cylinder that formed this whole shape, and then I used that to subtract away each of these protrusions. Then I can remove that cutting cylinder, and now we have our trimmed and final shape. I then exported this as an STL and opened up that STL in my slicer program. Now the slicer is the piece of software that takes your model and gets it ready for printing. You put in your material and all your settings here, and then you slice it. And once you slice it, it shows you layer by layer how the printer is going to print that object. At this point, this was ready to send to the printer. For anyone not familiar with 3D printers, there's a variety of filaments you can use depending on what kind of characteristics you need your print to have. So PLA is a really basic filament. PETG gives you a little better flexibility and a little better heat resistance, but in this case, I need a lot more heat resistance, and so I'm going to use ABS plastic. I'll go ahead and get this material loaded and then start the print. Alright, so I have the piece, and the little ridge snaps over that groove on each side, and then you can take it, spin it here to get that heat blowing in whichever direction you want. So that print came out and worked like I intended it to. To be honest though, the more I've thought about this, I do feel a little concerned about the heat tolerance of this. I want to test it out and it may be fine, but I came up with an alternate idea too that I want to go ahead and print. And that is basically just to make a really short adapter piece so that this standard outlet that came with the heater can clip on, but rather than using a little bit of ducting that look bad and have the hose clamps, something that's just a little more of a seamless adapter. This outlet has threads on the back right here, and so I can measure these threads and then use this same snap-on feature on this side, add threads to the other side, and have a connector where it slides together. So to model this piece, I'll start with a cylinder that's basically the same one we had before. I want to show this because modeling threads is really cool and actually a lot easier than it seems. So the first thing I need to do is make this a little taller. So I'm going to extrude this top face up by another 20 millimeters. I'm going to make this a new body rather than join it. Doing that allows me to select just this upper portion to place the threads. So now I'm going to go to the thread tool, select that surface. We want modeled threads. When I measured that vent, there was a thread size of 76 millimeters and a pitch of 2 millimeters, or there's 2 millimeters spacing between each thread. To match this, I've set my profile here to M76 by 2. Rest of the settings are good as is, and I can click OK. Now to make this easier to see, I'm going to go to a section analysis so we can look at this side profile. So now we can see that all our threads have been cut into this upper portion of our cylinder. If we were to print it like this, it'd probably fit too tight because you need to add a little extra clearance. So what I'm going to do now is use the press pull tool to offset this face, and this face by negative 0.2 millimeters. Now if we look at the before and after of that, here it was before, and then here it was after that. So basically we just shaved down those threads a little bit to have some tolerance because printing's not perfect. Now we can export this as an STL, slice it, and print it. So here's the piece I ended up with. It's got that same ridge to snap into place on this side, and then it has threads on this side. And if these threads came out right, these two should thread together. And that all meshes well. Alright, so that works too as another option for this heater output. I like the slimmer, more streamlined look of that first one I made, but I think they're both worth trying, and if this one has an issue with the heat, then this will be a better option because that hot air is mostly going to be hitting the outlet that came with it, and that adapter just kind of sits as a bridge on the outside. I have updates. So I've been running the heater just on full blast using that slimmer, fully 3D printed vent cover, and it is indeed too hot for it. The little finned areas here, I'll do a close-up, but are just getting too soft. So it'll have to be that plan B, that adapter to the standard vent outlet. So I'm glad I tried that out both ways. The air from these little heaters just comes out so hot, which is why they work so well for heating these spaces. This adapter does seem like it'll work better because when I measure the temperature of the air coming off the fins, like right at the outlet, yeah, it's in that like 220 degrees. But if I measure where that little coupling that I made is, that adapter, it's only in the about mid 150s, which is a significant difference in a temperature that material should be able to withstand for that adapter. Next up, I want to show you a little switch mounting plate adapter that I designed. Sometimes you just need a small, simple toggle switch for controlling something. In this case, it'd be for turning the water heater on and off via a relay. These little round toggle switches are readily available, but I've never liked the way they mount directly in wood. You can drill out a circular hole. In the past, I've even bought a Forstner bit that's the exact size, but they still just don't feel like they go in that great because there's these little tabs that have kind of a spring tension, and those don't work well in the round hole. And additionally, it's got a little key alignment tab there, and so it's really never fit well just in a simple wooden hole. So I thought it would be cool to design a little mounting plate that this can click into, and then you can screw that plate into the surface and just drill a larger hole behind it for clearance. I won't go into the detail of how I designed this 3D model, but here's what it looks like. The switch can then click and lock right into place on that mounting plate, and then you drill a larger clearance hole and screw this right into the surface. Here's where I used one of these in this van. On to the third problem I want to solve using a 3D printed part. So in this van, there used to be a bench here, and I rebuilt it into this 2-seat dinette. Now, in this front portion here is where the composting toilet is going to live. The toilet is this nice little Trillino, which is going to drop in right here. As with anything in a van, it needs to be secured in place so that it doesn't move around too much. Now the toilet has these little recessed areas here, which to me look like they're where a bracket could fit on either side, but there weren't any with the toilet. So I'm going to print a little bracket that can be screwed down into the base of this to hold the toilet in place. I'll start by gathering a few dimensions, and then we can model out a quick bracket. Okay, last quick 3D modeling overview. So to make this toilet bracket, I started with a sketch of the base, and then I extruded that up to give it some thickness. Then I added a sketch of the back part of that bracket and extruded that up. I wanted to taper that a little, so I sketched some tapered lines on that surface and used that to trim the shape down like this, so it had a little bit more of a tapered profile. Then I created a sketch along this bottom portion of the bracket where I divided it in half with a reference line and added 2 points where I wanted to drill holes for screws, and I added a counter bore to these. The last thing I did was just smooth out all the corners on this shape using the fillet tool, so that way it had nice rounded edges. Alright, here's that little bracket printed. So this bracket will screw down over on this far side where the toilet's not up against a wall. But I went ahead and I decided that I wanted to make an alignment piece for this side. And so I printed one here, no bracket, just a flat piece that can screw against the wall on the cabinet here and give it some alignment on both sides as you sit the toilet into place. Actually, I had to make a change to my little alignment piece that mounts to the wall. So the toilet is angled, and so the top sticks out more than the bottom. And so this one, where I just made the depth of the side, when it was mounted to the wall, it wasn't actually catching into this little groove. So all I did was create a thicker version of it, and then I can screw this one into the wall, and then that'll help align it as the toilet gets dropped into place. Alright, and now that is secure. Well, that's about all I have for this video. I just wanted to make this one because I've been really excited to find new ways to use this new tool to work on my 3D modeling skills. That's always something I've enjoyed, and I've been enjoying getting to put it to more uses. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.